Hello everybody, so I'm going to do a last minute preview for the first test at Nagpur between Australia and India. So this is the first test. General preview is that India are massive favourites at home, not just against Australia but against everyone. It's not that Australia travel poorly so much as India just have this massive home ground advantage. It's the biggest of any team, and it's been like that for at least 20 or 30 years. There was a time past where West Indies had a massive home ground advantage. They still do, but it's no longer as big as it used to be. India are comfortably the number one team in terms of home track bullying. And a big part of that is pitch doctoring. That's not the only part. There are also conditions that are different to most other parts of the world. But of course they're not that much similar. Well, they're quite similar to Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Sri Lanka and Bangladesh do not have the same level of home ground advantage. That's because India do tend to just blatantly doctor their pitches. They don't always, but when they can see that their team strengths are different to their opposition team's strengths, they will often just change the pitch to suit their home team. This is of course illegal, but the ICC have been proven time and again to be toothless about this issue when India is concerned. In fact, they're toothless about everything to do with India. So any other team did this, they would be prosecuted. But India just get away with it. And in this time, in this test, India have decided not just to play a ranked turner, which, you know, this time around they've decided, well, they did that last time, 6 years ago, and it sort of backfired, and Australia actually won the test, thanks to Stuart MacGill, who they'd never heard of before and who was actually a really good bowler. And this time around they have actually favoured right-hand batsmen. So they've curated the pitch, so they've put water on just one side of the wicket and at a good length, and not the other side at a good length, so that spin bowlers bowling into left armers are going to get a massive advantage. And that's going to favour Ravi Ashwin. And Australia have a lot of left-handers out of their batsmen. India don't. So Australia doesn't really have a bowler that can take advantage of bowling into left armers, and there's nobody to bowl into. So this is a massive cheat, and it's been exposed pretty blatantly. Indian fans say everybody does it. They say Australia do worse. That's an absolute lie. Australia do not do this. Have never done this, and in fact nobody else does this. So it's a blatant lie, but that's just Indian fans trying to justify. Well, it's really illegal behaviour. Certainly it's cheating. And yeah, Australia do not do this. Nobody does it. It's not just Australia that don't do it. Nobody does it, just India. So Pakistan don't do it, Sri Lanka don't do it, it's just India. Bangladesh have been known to do a little bit in terms of ODIs and T20s, but not this blatant and not in tests. So we have that, and as a result of that, Australia made the surprising decision to not pick Travis Head. Now that could be because Travis Head doesn't play very well away from home, but also could be at least a little bit because he's a left-hander. So he's in massive, really good form, and it's a bit of a surprising move, but it's not without merit. And they've decided to pick Matt Renshaw and Pete Handscomb because there was a debate as to which one to play. They're both in reasonably good form and both did well in India in 2017. Now that was 6 years ago. A lot of things can change in 6 years. Pete Handscomb is right-handed, Matt Renshaw left, but Matt Renshaw is also usually an opener, and with some form issues surrounding David Warner, if Warner didn't do well in the first test, there'd be a chance that Renshaw would move in to open and we could have Cameron Green come in. So Matt Renshaw is certainly a good pick. Pete Handscomb is the right-handed thing, and I think the whole left-handed pitch doctoring probably pushed Pete Handscomb into the team as well. Peter Handscomb does also wicket keep, but I don't think he's really putting any pressure on Alex Carey. So the other big news for Australia was that Todd Murphy is making his debut. Now he was a bit of a tricky decision because we probably wouldn't have had Josh Hazlewood been fit, even though Hazlewood is a fast bowler. But with Hazlewood out, we could never play Lance Morris. He would get tired too quickly because he's too quick. and there's not enough bowling options to support him. So we have gone in with Todd Murphy. Now that is a bit of a risk because this will be his test debut. He's got very few first class matches. Nobody really knows much about him, but there is that chance that India won't know much about him and won't know how to play him, because that depends on how good he is, but there is a chance. So probably that's a sensible move. There was talk about Ashton Agar, but seriously, he couldn't manage it in Sydney. He's massively out of form. He's got a terrible record. The only reason to pick him was because he was a left-hander. And with the whole pitch doctoring, it really ruled Ashton Agar out. Now for India, it's interesting because their three spin bowlers are all all-rounders. Now Australia do have all-rounders who spin as well, Smith and Labuschagne, and Head, although Head's been not playing in this match. So Jadeja and Ashwin in particular have got good bowling records, but they also are all-rounders. Then we've got Axar Patel, who so far has a good bowling record, but he's playing on spin-friendly pitches, and it might be a bit misleading. He's definitely an all-rounder. Now they resisted the temptation to play a proper spinner in Kuldeep Yadav, and that's an interesting decision. So they've gone in with three all-rounders. So a lot of pressure will be on Ravi Ashwin. So if Ashwin does well, you know, they'll be accused of cheating because they've really made it so that he can really maximise his chances. But he's 36 years old, didn't do very well in his last series against Bangladesh, and yeah, there's a chance that he won't succeed. And what if he doesn't succeed? If he doesn't succeed, then all this pitch doctoring, all this cheating will be for nothing. And Ashwin's a pretty fair player, so there's a chance that he won't succeed because he'll feel guilty about it. Jadeja, another pretty fair player, he's troubled Australia in the past, but he's been in and out of the side. And then you've got Axar Patel, who is an all-rounder and is more known for his batting than his bowling. So it's a tough one. And then we've got Mohammad Siraj and Mohammad Shami, who are the pace bowlers. They're the only two specialist bowlers in the Indian lineup, and they're probably not the best. I mean, there's a big problem with India's bowling. Now, with India's batting, yes, you do that. They put in three Yadav. Yes, he was great in T20s in the World Cup, but he's never played Test before. That's a big difference. They've left out Iyer and they've left out Gill. Now, they were both in form. I don't know why that happened. KL Rahul, out of form. Rohit Sharma, I don't believe he's in particularly good form. Pujara, I don't think, I mean, he did well against Australia, but is he in good form? Probably not. And then they've got the wicketkeeper, never heard of this guy, can't remember his name, he's not Pan. Apparently can't bat. So India have a lot of holes, and there is that potential for those holes to be exploited. Now the key for me for Australia to win is to blunt Ravi Ashwin. If they can blunt him, I think Australia will be going a long way to winning. The other key is that we do need Smith and Labuschagne to do well. Now I'm still expecting India to win, and of course they blatantly cheated to try to maximise that chance. But I think on paper Australia do have the better lineup, even without the three key players, even without Travis Head. Of course, having a better team on paper doesn't mean you're going to win. These are Indian conditions. That is an advantage in itself. They'll have home ground advantage. There'll be people in the crowds and TV in the streets supporting them. And the blatant cheating, in many ways, that will encourage the supporters even more, because they'll say, well, we didn't cheat, you cheat. So, yeah, I don't know how much advantage they'll gain from that cheating, but yeah, it might even be a little bit psychological. So, you know, sort of saying, well, we can cheat, we have the ICC in our back pocket, what are you going to do? But yeah, I certainly do think that it'll be Ashwin against Smith and Labuschagne that'll decide the contest. I do think India are big favourites, but if Ashwin can lose badly enough in that contest, or overall, I think Australia are a chance. Anyway, that's it from me. Bye-bye now.